All right. Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And tonight we're going to be talking about how Bart's lawyer, and Bart is a supposed, and I put supposed in air quotes, friend of Nolan. He is going on a rampage. He started off by offering to be of service to anyone who wanted to sue anybody who said anything about these boys. He finally got a client, which is Bart. And now he's going after people on social media. He's trying his darndest to discredit Nancy Grace. He is going out of his way to go at Ben Crump, etc. I'm going to go through some of the things that I found on social media and bring you guys up to speed. So, first, we're going to go to this article, and let me pull it on the screen. All right, so this article right here, where it says ex teammate of Nolan Wells takes steps to sue influencer over online accusations. So in the article, it says Bart Edmonston Jr., a former teammate of Nolan Wells on the Ocean Springs High School football team, is set to pursue defamation claims after alleging that a flurry of unfounded accusations on social media led to a death threat. Russ Latino, a lawyer and the CEO of the nonprofit news publication Magnolia Tribune, announced that he was representing Edmonston in a Facebook post alleging that defamatory statements are putting Bart, his family, and friends in harm's way. Latino sent out the first of what he says will be multiple cease and desist demands today, demanding an apology and correction from influencer Kimbra Lee, who has more than 200,000 followers across Facebook and Instagram. A U.S. park ranger found 18 years old Wells' body on Horns Island, south of the Mississippi Gulf Coast, 2 days after he traveled there to celebrate the 4th of July with a large friend group. It says they took multiple boats out there, and after he rode out on what began to be after the boat he rode out on began taking on water due to a faulty bilge pump, Wells' friends who were on the boat said that he declined to turn to shore with them. So this is the quick post about it. Now let's go to the attorney that is supposed to be sending out these threats of lawsuits and etc. Let me go to his page to show you that before he ever even retained this guy, he wanted to desperately be a part of this case. Now, this is something that was sent out in the cease and desist that was sent out on his social media and to Kimberly. It says, Dear Miss Lee, I have been retained to represent Bart Edmonston Jr., a Mississippi resident, in response to numerous false and defamatory statements you have published on social media channels under your control, including but not limited to Facebook and Instagram channels operating under the name of Kimbra Lee. We have also determined two potential aliases, including Susan Speezer and Lauren David. This correspondence serves as a formal demand that you immediately cease your unlawful conduct, preserve all evidence relating to your publications, retract and correct your false statements, and take immediate steps to mitigate the substantial damages your actions have caused and will continue to cause. Please read this letter carefully. If you are represented by counsel, please have him or her contact me at their earliest convenience. Nothing contained herein constitutes a complete statement of Mr. Edmonston's factual or legal positions. He expressly reserves all rights and remedies available under Mississippi law and any other applicable jurisdiction. We also have submitted or are in the process of submitting information to the FBI, U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Mississippi and the Eastern District of Louisiana. Attorney General's offices in Mississippi and Louisiana, and local law enforcement in Jackson County, Mississippi, and Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, to determine if your conduct violates federal and or state criminal laws that prohibit cyberstalking and harassment. Your repeated doxing efforts, it says your repeated doxing efforts that have included publishing his address, pictures of his home, and land plats of his property, expose my client and his family to considerable safety risk. Indeed, as of yesterday, my client has received a credible death threat being investigation. My client has received a credible death threat being, I guess he meant investigated. Being investigated by is what he meant. Federal and state law enforcement. And then it says factual background. Nolan Wells disappeared on or near Horn Island off the coast of Jackson, Mississippi on July 4th, 2026. Attempts to find him began on or about the evening of July 4th, 2026. His body was ultimately discovered deceased off the shore of Horn Island on July 6, 2026. An investigation was launched into his death by law enforcement officials and remains sealed pending its completion and submission to the Jackson County Grand Jury. The case has garnered substantial national attention and considerable unsubstantiated speculation. Beginning during the week of July 25th through 26th and continuing thereafter, you have published dozens of videos, written posts, photographs, comments, and other content concerning the death of Nolan Wells, many of which sought to erroneously implicate Mr. Edmiston. Among other things, you have represented or implied as fact that 1. Mr. Wells was the victim of criminal conduct up to first-degree murder. 2. Mr. Wells died aboard a boat off the coast of Horn Island. 3. Edmiston was one of 3 suspects implicated in the death of Mr. Wells. 4. Mr. Edmiston engaged in specific conduct that caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' death. 5. Mr. Edmiston concealed information or otherwise acted inconsistently with innocence, and various purported inconsistencies or official documents established Mr. Edmiston attempted to cover up his alleged role. These statements were presented to an audience approaching 200,000 followers, with the estimated combined impressions of your posts reaching into the millions. Those statements have since been repeated across numerous social media platforms and other internet forums. Your assertion about Mr. Edmiston are categorically false and were made by you either with knowledge or their falsity or in a reckless disregard for the truth. To date, there are no publicly available facts or evidence supporting your assertions that Mr. Edmiston is a suspect in any crime, is a suspect in Mr. Wells' death, caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' death, engaged in any conduct to obscure or conceal Mr. Wells' death or its circumstances, or engaged in any criminal wrongdoing whatsoever. You have nevertheless repeatedly presented the accusations to this public as fact. All right. So I'm going to pause reading that for a second, and I'm going to show you guys her profile. Now, this is one of the posts that she posted.
Information means you got to prove that what I'm saying isn't true. And everything that I'm saying is coming from official Coast Guard reports, official CETO audio, like official GPS coordinates that were published. They're published. Uh, this is official stuff that's published. So, I mean, unless the MDMS is publishing fake stuff, whatever I'm saying is based off official documents that those people released. So I'm so confused as to who's defaming, what's being defamed here, because I am just going off the Coast Guard reports that everyone has is privy to. Defamation means you got to prove that. Is really crazy. It's like a kid went out with his friends, came up missing and dead, and then instead of them just like saying I'm sorry and taking the L, they want to like start going after the victim, going after the victim's family, going after the content creators. They're trying to go after everybody except the people he went out with and didn't come back. What is going on, America? It's really crazy. It's like a kid went.
All right. So this is also another one of the things that she posted. She said, what we know for a fact, the 11:45 p.m. Coast Guard call for 20 minutes that Warren allegedly made to Brianna Asher is either fake or the Coast Guard is on gross negligence and breach of duty, amongst other things. They withheld the name Bart Edmonston, the GPS location home that matched Fort Bayou, right after the time of Nolan's death on the boat, which we placed to be approximately 4:30. Bart is on the official Coast Guard report for July 5th at 10 a.m., which is the first time they in fact called to report him missing. Additionally, Bart claimed to be in Wyoming for a year, despite the fact that his name is on the Coast Guard report, and his name is heard from Wyatt yelling for him to pull the plug in the CETO audio. Wyatt was aware Nolan was having a medical emergency and refused to render help on two occasions. One, when the CETO operator asked if everyone on board was in good health, and the second time when he calls his grandfather instead of 911. Two failed chances to render help. So this is the example of the type of post that she is making. Now, she did dox their address and she did dox their information. I remember seeing like her pull up like Zillow records, and she was one of the first people to identify all of the people who were with Warren. She was diligent in identifying who their parents are, who they're connected to, if their parents are officials, if their parents are doctors, if their parents are of status, what the layout of their backyard looks like. She was like comparing and analyzing pools, etc. So she was going in on them. And so this is one of the ones that they jumped out the gate with saying, okay, we are going to go after you first to send a message to everybody else. Okay. It is my belief that, they're going to use the white girl to tell all of the other people to back off and do not pursue any more of the things that is being pursued. This is showed just for an example purpose. I'm not asserting this information. This is already publicly on her channel or her page, and it is part of the accusation she is being accused of. So I'm showing this to show what they are referencing as they talk about the what they talk about in the proposed lawsuit. So this is her page right here. So she's made countless videos, countless reels. She has made tons of stuff going and trying to figure different information
Just to give
out.
you an idea of the map of the you can see like all the waterways, okay, and like how you can, if any one of those kids could have had houses along these waterways, it would have been really easy just to access it and get right out to Horn Island. Just to give you an idea of the map of the, you can see like all the waterways. Evidence here just proving that these kids have access to these types of, direct water accesses. So it could have happened at any time. And it takes 20 minutes to drive to Horn Island. So I'm not saying this kid Javon had anything to do with it, but if you were really trying to help, why the fuck did you go to TMZ with a mismatched story instead of Crump and his team? When they were like, you know what I'm saying? You should have never done that. You were really trying to help. You didn't go talk to the fucking police, but you went to TMZ, Javon?
All right. So that's her calling out Javon. And then she called out Bart as well. I'm trying to find the post where she was calling out Bart in one of her videos. Let me see if I can find it. So this is her like showing who's who also.
I'm sick to my fucking stomach, dog. This is allegedly the pool party that they were all at. There's the basketball goal this girl was talking about. I don't know what that is. They're saying this was on July 5th or 4th. I don't know. I think the date might be wrong. Look, this picture's missing off this guy's Instagram now. Okay, Evan? Okay, Evan? Evan!
All right, I'm trying to find. I don't know if she took it off, but she has some where she was like circling and showing who's Bart.
Okay, I found a different picture. And look at the bottom, all the way at the bottom. It says, I'm gonna zoom in. It says posted 29 hours ago.
I can't find it right now. I have to really look, but this is just, if you guys could just look, I'm not gonna show exactly whose information, but this is her like showing different areas of houses, different Zillow findings, Zillow listings, different like home layouts. All of these types of things is what the alleged cease and desist, or what the cease and desist is saying that they will pursue action for if she doesn't retract. And she has been going over different things as it pertains to this case, different comments that people have made. She has been going over what the governor said, what different individuals said, pulling up different people's profile and trying to get to the bottom of different things that she sees.
The best part about the interview with Warren is that it was probably filmed several weeks ago before we even cracked all this shit. So I never, like I said, I never went and even looked at. I'm gonna go look at it today. I'm gonna catch him in more lives. But that's the thing. When he filmed that, he didn't even know how far we had already gotten on this case. So baby, if he would have known what we had gotten, he would have never said that.
I heard from him, and obviously, I'm thinking I'd way rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I would rather call the Coast Guard 100 times and lose my mind over it, and my buddy be okay, than not, and me not know where he is and him not be okay. And so I called the Coast Guard and I talked to them on the phone for like 20 minutes.
Wait a minute. So you talked to the Coast Guard for 20 minutes, and they didn't remember? They didn't remember a detailed 20-minute call of you? Well, I think we got to subpoena the Coast Guard, because what the fuck you mean? If you talk to the Coast Guard for 20 minutes, why didn't he go out there immediately and start searching? Why did he forget you called? Why did he only remember you called until the next day? Coast Guard to the front of the room.
I heard from him, and obviously I'm thinking I'd way rather.
All right. So this is the type of content that she has. She has been, like I said, doing deep dives, trying to find out information, dissecting interviews, pulling up reports, pulling up all kinds of stuff and giving her theory. Now, one thing that I do agree that she has been giving some theories as facts, which we don't know the true facts yet. And she has been trying to go all in.
So let's look at Fulton. Fulton said that wasn't me. All right, I have to go try to prove it's Fulton. I can't do that. Whatever. Now let's look at Bart. I heard Bart's name on the fucking thing. I didn't know if he was talking about Bart Simpson. How the fuck I knew he was talking with Bart? What's going on? Okay, I can't prove that. But if Bart's name's on the motherfucking Coast Guard report, you can't get out of that, boo-boo. That's evidence there, okay? That's good enough as having a picture of him on a fucking boat, bitch. All right? So, unlike Fulton, who really just has a picture versus a word, we have an official Coast Guard report with Bart's name in the report as a person involved. So, explain your way out of that, baby. You got to do that in court. So, let's look at Fulton. Fulton said that wasn't me, all right? The angel, the DA's like, where's the charge at? Where's the fucking murderer at? There's fucking 100 kids. There's 3 boats. We don't know which one of them was on which boat. We don't know which one of them was fighting with which. The DA's fucking confused. The DA wants to charge him. She don't even know what to do, okay? Before I see anybody's interviews, just the most logical thing is that one of their brothers hit him. One of their brothers hit him, and they was protecting their brother. They didn't want their brother to get in trouble. Okay? That's the most logical thing I can come up with. We're not even seeing none of them. We about to get that anesthesiology money, baby. Oh, look. Another pain management doctor, just like Warren's dad. Can I get some anesthesiology money, baby? Can I get a $2 million home on the water, baby? Can I get your son's name on the Coast Guard report, baby? Can I get a big owl? Can I get your son lying saying he was in Wyoming? Can I get a big owl? Can I get your son's name on the vocal recording from Cito? Can I get a big owl Sharpton? Ma, how long we been sinking? Woo! We about to get that anesthesiology money, baby. Oh.
So this is the stuff that they are upset about. This is the stuff that she has been saying.
Obviously, we need y'all to run us Bart's GPS ASAP. Subpoena that right now. Doof. And we already knew y'all had 3 boats. The problem is we didn't know who the boat owners were, and now we know who they are. Now we know, because you know why? Loose lips sink ships. I know y'all don't think y'all can learn nothing from OGs because they black and y'all don't want to listen to them. They can teach y'all some shit too. Loose lips sink ships, motherfuckers. Tell y'all kids not to go on no podcast. Trying to get famous and shit off their friends' death and cover up. Goofies, bruh. We just racking up the charts. We just started. We just racking them up. Y'all never heard me say I ain't even doing the most yet, huh? Y'all not. Well. What do we have here? Do we have here some Google reviews from 10 months ago? Now, what did Michelle Fuller say? She said, the first time I met him meaning Dr. Edmondson, Bart's dad, he really didn't ask much about me. More just like talked about how awesome he was at Dartmouth. Woo! Let's see what Mr. Cruz Dubon from a year ago has to say. Horrible staff and very poor professionalism. Feel really bad for the way I was treated. Also, the shot that I received did absolutely nothing. Hey, class, what did we learn today in Bedroom Law School? We learned that Bart is in a lot of trouble. Wyatt, lot of trouble. Warren, lot of trouble, but not as much trouble as fucking Bart, bitch. Not as much trouble as fucking Bart, bitch. And now, It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. We're going to have to take Jackson. Now's your chance to go tell him what happened and get out of it. Because we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out, Jax. Hey, class, what did we learn today in Bedroom Law School? We learned that Bart. All right, now y'all's homework for tonight is to make a chart of the three suspects, Bart, Warren, and Wyatt, and all of their parents and grandparents' involvement. Okay, I need to know. So it's like Wyatt. We need to point that Ike is the racist one. We need to go Wyatt's grandpa. We need to go Warren, the judge, Warren's dad. We need to go Bart's mom and dad. Okay, I need that on a chart visually. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So on this thing, all right, so I just showed those simply as an example only. Not that Bart is a suspect. I don't know what their investigation holds, but just so that you have a reference point to what is being alleged in the cease and desist that she did, so that you can see for yourself, like, oh, okay, so this is what they're talking about when they mention this, this, and that. So I'm going to read back over this part, and it says, beginning during the weekend of July 25th through 26, 2026, and continuing thereafter, you have published dozens of videos, written posts, photographs, and comments and other content concerning the death of Nolan Wells, many of which sought to erroneously implicate Mr. Edmiston. Among other things, you have represented or implied as fact that 1. Mr. Wells was the victim of criminal conduct up to first-degree murder. 2. Mr. Wells died aboard a boat off the coast of Horn Island. 3. Mr. Edmiston was one of 3 suspects implicated in the death of Mr. Wells. 4. Mr. Edmiston engaged in specific conduct that caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' death. 5. Mr. Edmiston concealed information or otherwise acted inconsistently with innocence. And 6. Various purported inconsistencies or official documents establish Mr. Edmiston attempted to cover up his alleged role. These statements were presented to an audience approaching 200,000 followers, with the estimated combined impression of your post reaching into the millions. Those statements have since been repeated across numerous social media platforms and other internet forums. B. Your assertion about Mr. Edmiston are categorically false and were made by you either with knowledge of their falsity or in reckless disregard for the truth. To date, there are no publicly available facts or evidence supporting your assertions that Mr. Edmiston is a suspect in any crime, is a suspect in Mr. Wells' death, caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' death, engaged in any conduct to obscure or conceal Mr. Wells' death or its circumstances, or engaged in any criminal wrongdoing whatsoever. You have nevertheless repeatedly presented these accusations to the public as fact. Meanwhile, your publications demonstrate that you are speculating about matters for which you possess no firsthand knowledge and no competent evidence. Watching the full panoply of your videos, you have repeatedly, frequently, and erratically changed your own theories about what happened, who is responsible, what criminal codes are implicated, what efforts are being made to expose or cover up the truth. Mr. Edmiston has fully and voluntarily cooperated with law enforcement throughout their investigation. He set for interviews and fully disclosed his knowledge concerning the events of July 4th, 2026. He provided a list of potential witnesses to authorities, including those who were on the boat he was piloting. He allowed for the inspection of his phone, his boat, and GPS without hesitation and without a warrant. He shared requested videos and photos from that day. He has been an open book with authorities. and at no point have authorities identified him as a person of interest or suspect in any crime. The investigative file concerning the death of Nolan Wells has been sealed by the Jackson County District Attorney pending completion of the investigation and to preserve its integrity. Your repeated false assertions of fact concerning Mr. Edmiston's supposed criminal culpability, therefore, are not based upon publicly available investigative findings because none exist. They're figments of your uninformed imagination and they are dangerous. C. Publications of personal information places Mr. Edmiston and his family at safety. Publication of personal information places Mr. Edmiston and his family at safety risk, has created emotional distress, and is interfering with their business interests. Your conduct extends beyond false accusations. You have repeatedly published photographs of Mr. Edmiston's residence, his residential address, land plats, identifying his property, information concerning his family members, information concerning family businesses, references to his university, his place on his university football team, and his potential to play in the NFL. Publishing identifying information up to and including his location, alongside allegations that Mr. Edmiston is a suspect in the death of Mr. Wells, that he caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' death, or that he is implicated in efforts to conceal Mr. Wells' death or the circumstances behind it, foreseeably exposes Mr. Edmiston and his family to harassment, threats, intimidation, and physical danger. It also significantly magnifies the damages resulting from your publications. To compound the safety risk you are creating for his family, your posts deliberately seek to cause financial harm or the loss of opportunities for Mr. Edmiston and his family. You have posted both of his parents' places of employment and in one video bragged about coming for his father's money since he is a physician. Separately, you have discussed interrupting Mr. Edmiston's opportunity to potentially play in the NFL. D. Anticipated cause of action. Your conduct gives rise to multiple causes of action, included but not limited to defamation, libel, and slander. 2. Defamation by implication, false light, invasion of privacy, torturous interference with existing and prospective business relationships, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. This summary is intended to give you a sense of the anticipated claims that will be pursued in litigation and not to provide an exhaustive listing of the legal theories Mr. Edmiston and his family may pursue. We reserve all rights to assert additional claims. We fully anticipate seeking compensatory damages, presumed damages where authorized by law, consequential economic damages, emotional distress damages, punitive damages, prejudgment interest where available, cost, and all other relief permitted by law. Demand for immediate cessation of activity and preservation of evidence. Mr. Edmiston demands that you immediately 1. Cease making any further false statements concerning him or his family. To paraphrase Will Smith, keep your name out your mouth. Keep their names out your mouth. What? If you gonna quote Will Smith, you got to put the whole quote in there. Like, he said, keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. Imagine getting a cease and desist and they quote Will Smith in there. That is different. Like, at least quote the actual quote. Like, what? We don't need you to paraphrase. So he said, to paraphrase Will Smith, keep their names out your mouth. 2, change every Facebook, Instagram, or other social media post, no matter the platform, which refers to Mr. Edmiston, to private, locked, or an equivalent setting that removes the material from public view while preserving the content in its original form for evidentiary purposes. 3, immediately cease publishing or republishing Mr. Edmiston's address, photographs of his residence, land plats, identifying information concerning his property or similar material. 4, immediately cease encouraging or facilitating harassment directed towards Mr. Edmiston, his family, or his associates. 5, preserve every document, draft, recording, photograph, screenshot, text message, email, direct message, metadata file, analytics record, monetization record, communications with third parties, and electronically stored information relating in any way to your publications concerning Mr. Edmiston or Mr. Wells. This demand extends to all devices, cloud accounts, and social media accounts under possession or control. You should understand that we will simultaneously putting Meta on notice to preserve all ESI related to your accounts and subpoenaing the same information. Destruction or alteration of relevant evidence after receipt of this letter may constitute spoliation and may result in additional sanctions, adverse inferences, or being held in contempt. F. Demand for public correction and apology. Although Mississippi law does not require Mr. Edmiston to afford you an opportunity to retract your defamatory statements before pursuing litigation against you, Mr. Edmiston is nonetheless extending that opportunity and will take it into account. Accordingly, we demand that you publish a correction and apology with substantially the following substance. And then they gave her the apology that they want her to say. I previously made statements asserting or implying that Bart Edmiston was a suspect and responsible for or otherwise involved in the death of Nolan Wells or in its cover-up. I acknowledge that I had no factual basis for making those assertions. At present, the investigative file concerning Nolan Wells has been sealed pending completion of the investigation, and I possess no evidence establishing that Mr. Edmiston committed any crime, caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' death, or otherwise concealed the cause of his death at any time of my statements. My prior statements concerning Mr. Edmiston were conjecture and speculation devoid of factual support. I retract those statements and apologize to Mr. Edmiston. I would add that since you hold yourself out as a law professor, if that is factually inaccurate and or if you are not a licensed attorney, you should include that admission in your apology. It is not unreasonable to infer that some of your audience might believe your defamatory statements are credible because of the perception that you have specialized knowledge about the law. Mr. Edmiston fully reserves the right to pursue litigation regardless of whether a correction is published. However, your willingness or refusal to promptly correct the record will necessarily be relevant to issues of malice, damages, punitive damages, and mitigation. Unless we receive written confirmation within 5 business days of your receipt of this letter, and that you have fully complied with each of the foregoing demands, Mr. Edmiston is prepared to pursue all available legal remedies without further notice. And that is signed Russell Latino the third. All right. So there are people on social media who believe that Russell has been trying to involve himself in the case. Let me show you guys. I had pulled up a post. Hold on. I hate when I pull up a post and then Facebook just refreshes it for some reason. What is that about, Facebook? Why y'all refreshing stuff? Like, what? 1 second, y'all. Where is it at? In other news, I got this interesting comment. Joe Johnstone said, "You effing ignorant ghetto hood rat nigger. The hypocrisy with you ignorant ass kunta is amazing. It really is. And I'm sure you don't understand many of those big words because you're an uneducated effing ape." All right. So that is the comment of, or the DM of the day. I don't understand what he thought was big words. His sentences don't even make sense. But I get called a hard ER several times since I've been covering the Carmelo Anthony case and now this case. So, add that to the list of hard ERs that I've been called. Okay. But let's go to Russell Latino's page because, as I stated, he also called out Nancy Grace. So 1 second, let me go here first. So Adelia Dr. J says the following. So this is what Adelia said. So Russell Latino from Madison, Mississippi is obsessed with the Nolan Wells story. That's all he has posted about in the last 5 days. He owns the Magnolia Tribune. He's offering to help sue all people who have said there was murder. He uncomfortable with people talking about Mississippi. How uncomfortable he thinks we are living it. All you have to do is read what they wrote to know who they are. So this is a post by Adelia. And Adelia says that Russell is obsessed, okay? And been wanting to desperately insert into this case. Now, I don't know. This is my first time hearing about Russell today, so I really don't know much about Russell or what he's been posting. But let's go through what Adelia pulled out of the post. So this is the first post that Adelia wanted us to see, and it says, "If you see anyone saying or implying that any one of Nolan Wells' friends are murderers, that they know or are certain Wells was murdered, will you please take a screenshot of it and send it to me? If Wells' friends are ultimately exonerated, I plan on offering my legal services free of charge, no contingency or fee, to file defamation lawsuits, starting with a look at Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and Nancy Grace. Any media outlet that repeated their statements without any challenge. But I would not stop there. This prejudgment, factless bullshit has to end before it tears our country apart. Be skeptical. Demand results. But you can't just accuse people of anything without evidence. This has nothing to do with the Magnolia Tribune. This is Russ, the lawyer. All right. So this is what Adelia felt was important for us to see, that he's threatening everybody. He's going after Al Sharpton. He wants to look into Ben Crump. He got something to go against Nancy Grace and anybody who dare want to find answers for what happened to Nolan Wells. Another post that Delia wanted us to see is this post that says, "Before you buy the first sensational narrative the media feeds you for clicks, remember Tawana Brawley, the Central Park Five, or the Duke lacrosse players, many an innocent person, white and black, have been railroaded by complicit media outlets promoting racially charged narratives that ignore exonerating facts. Ask yourself why almost all of the focus has been put on 3 white young men that people saw leave on a boat together without Nolan. Ask yourself why Ben Crump and Al Sharpton have not acknowledged Trayston Shepard and Javon Williams, 2 other young black men who were part of the friend group that day, who have explained why the phones were on the boat and who have explicitly said there was no race thing. Well, Russell, if you're a lawyer and you've been looking into this case, then you would know that Javon's mom, Ben Crump, and you would know that Nolan Wells' parents all did an interview together. So they've clearly acknowledged what he said because they were in an interview together, all together. They also acknowledged Trayston because there's an interview out there of Nolan Wells' mom being asked if she knew Trayston, to which she said, I don't know him. Him saying that he's the best friend is a stretch, and at the most, he probably knows him from high school, to which Trayston admitted that he only found out who Nolan Wells was in high school. And it corroborated what the mom said. So they have acknowledged them. They have addressed statements said by them. So I don't know if you're just not aware of what's around social media, or if you are only paying attention to never mind. Let's continue. All right. So he posts a post where it says, appreciate Fox News mentioning our work. 3 days ago, he says he did an interview with Commissioner Tyndall, made Good Morning America. And hopefully people are starting to understand that the salacious narrative isn't a full picture. So it looks like he's, never mind. Anyways, this one, it says undetermined pending investigation. The pathology was not there to explain. No lacerations, no broken bones, a red band on the musculature under the skin of his neck, but no corresponding skin or bone structure abrasions, injuries, throat structure not sent by state. Basically said he couldn't tell how he died, but I give it to Crump. He can make reading an inconclusive medical document into murder. All right. So, this is other posts that he posted 4 days ago. He said, some important context. Nolan Wells' friend group went out to Horn Island mid-morning on July 4th in 3 separate boats that docked together on the northwest tip of the island. There were hundreds of boats and likely thousands of people spread out across the island, which is quite large if you've never been out there. This was not a solo boat trip to a desolate place with just 4 people. I wonder if Officer Tatum got his talking points from Russell, or did Russell get his talking points from Tatum? I don't know. One of the other is inspired by the other, because it sounds verbatim like the same talking points that nobody ever said in the fucking period. Nobody said that it was just 4 people. So I wonder if Russ is Tatum's inspiration, or is Tatum Russ's inspiration, and who's reading whose talking points, because who said that it was only 4? Both of you guys seem to keep making that assertion that nobody said. They said the group was drinking. While people were in the water, they put their cell phones on the boat. Trayston Shepard told ABC News that many people had done this, including Nolan. Javon Williams has said he also left his phone on the boat and had to retrieve it after he got back from the island. That provides a perfectly reasonable explanation as to why they had Nolan's phone. I don't know if you're being disingenuous or not, but that does not give us a perfectly reasonable explanation, because that doesn't explain why they left and didn't give him his phone. That only explains why one who is leaving on said boat would leave the phone on the boat to get in the water. But when you separate from the boat, that does not explain why he did not have his phone. So I don't know if you're being disingenuous, you're curating a narrative, or if you're just repeating Tatum's talking points, or if Tatum is repeating your talking points. I don't know. Somebody seems disingenuous to me, and that is my opinion. I don't know if for a fact, but it seems like a curated specific thing to say. Then he put up some other stuff about Ben Crump. And then he put up some statistics that we need to know about race relations in America. Race relations in America have cratered in the last 20 years, according to the surveys conducted by Gallup. In 2004, 72% of Americans described white-black race relations as very or somewhat good. What? This included the vast majority of Black citizens. By 2013, those numbers had slipped, but majorities of both white and Black citizens still described race relations positively. By 2021, those numbers fell to just 43% of white citizens and 33% of Black citizens. They've rebounded slightly, but nowhere near the broad optimism of the early 21st century. What are the explanations for this collapse? Did things really get worse? Did we just become aware of how bad they were? Or were isolated incidents amplified to make us believe that maybe they weren't isolated? The media doesn't survive by telling stories about millions of positive interactions between white and Black people. It survives off of conflict. Social media is that on steroids. I wonder if this guy is MAGA. And does he not see the current president amplifying race relations and making the races bolder than ever? Does he not see him amplifying these people to feel very bold and exonerating and pardoning freaking racists like Jake Lang and several of the other J6ers? Does he not see Trump amplifying the racism in America, or is he conveniently obtuse? He's a lawyer. He passed the bar. He's smart. He's intelligent. So I don't think that he's unaware. So I wonder if he's a part of the MAGA crowd, the reason why he conveniently doesn't understand how we got here. Crazy. And again, I don't know if he is or if he isn't. And if he is, that doesn't mean that he conveniently is not aware. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's given a certain type of thing that gives me the ick. 5 days ago, he posted, "I tried to have respectful dialogue on a difficult issue, the death of Nolan Wells. Today, I will admit, I had sharp elbows towards Al Sharpton because I do not believe he operates in good faith or that he is doing so on," and they didn't press more. Then he posts another post. "There were 449 known Black homicide victims in Mississippi in 2024. It is undisputed that they died by foul play. Al Sharpton and Ben Crump showed up for none of them, to my knowledge. Tyler Perry didn't attend their funerals. It seems like they're jealous." Now, I see when there's tragedies and people want people to rally against the other side, and they're actors don't step up and pay in full, or their actors don't really step up. So is it jealousy? Is it jealousy that Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, Tyler Perry will stand up for a black boy who received national attention off the heels of Carmelo Anthony, Rick Chow, and the climate that we have right now? Like, this didn't just receive national attention just because it was on its own merit. This received national attention because America witnessed Rick Chow get found not guilty, and a week later, exactly a week later, Carmelo Anthony got 35 years. And then a couple weeks after that, then we have this. Are we acting like we don't understand why this was picked up? Or is it just jealousy that black actors, athletes, and activists stepped up for him? Sick of their ass. All right, so this is some of the posts that Adelia wanted us to check out. Now, let's go to his page. All right, so this is his page, Russell Latino. And as you can see, it says that he is the CEO of the Magnolia Tribune. And he lists himself as a public figure. And that means that we can have dialogue about what he's saying and what he's putting out and give our opinion on it. Okay? My opinion, it just reeks of never mind. Anyways, so let's go through his page. Now, one of his posts about Nancy Grace, it had some very flagrant language. So I have to redact it really quickly. All right, I'm going to show the Nancy Grace post first, because just like he went after Al Sharpton, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not really a fan of Nancy Grace. She was with the bullshit during the Carmelo Anthony trial, and she, to me, is not I'm not a fan of her, period. But it's funny how they will throw you under the bus quick if you do not get with their program, their narrative. They will run you over with what they feel they need to make clear. All right. So Nancy Grace was making excuses for that watermelon felon bullshit. The very racist rant that Jeff Metcalf said. And when Jeff Metcalf claimed that we should be that we're entitled because they owned us as slaves and now we're not slaves anymore and all of that bull crap, she made excuses for that. Also, I saw her coverage on the Diddy trial. But anyways, that's my opinion. But I wonder if he called her out any other time, or is he only calling her out because she's not following the narrative of blindly saying that 3 boys are innocent, that we don't know whether they're innocent or not. Okay? We don't know if they're innocent or not. Now, this is what he posted about Nancy. He says, "Does everyone remember that Nancy Grace said 3 Duke lacrosse players gang R-worded a woman, and then the DNA evidence exonerated them, their accuser, admitted she made the whole thing up, and the prosecutor got disbarred? Or when she rallied against Richard Jewell as the Olympic bomber, honest mistake? Or how about when she claimed Elizabeth Smart had been kidnapped by Richard Rickey, only to find out she was taken by someone else? There was that Amanda Knox thing where Grace swore she unalived Meredith Kercher. She was acquitted. Grace advanced a theory that Whitney Houston had been unalived, and I'm sure her family appreciated that. She told Melinda Duckett on air that she was responsible for her 2-year-old's disappearance. Duckett killed herself the next day, and CNN paid her family a confidential lawsuit settlement. I love to know how many other settlements the network has made on her behalf. So many fond memories of people railroaded and abused by the great on air prosecutor. If I ran into an animal with those eyes in the forest, I'd assume it had rabies and put it down. So is he saying that he is that a pseudo like threat to kill her? Or like what is that? Like what? Let me read that again. If I ran into an animal with those eyes in the forest, I'd assume it had rabies and put it down. Is that like a slick threat? Some of y'all are quick to accept whatever gets put on the plate. So that's what he said. Somebody said not too much on Nancy Grace. She's the only celebrity that I've met twice. All right, so that's what he said about Nancy. And now let's get back to his page. So this is the statement that Edmonston family released. And then there was also other statements. So let me just go back to when he posted. Okay, so that's what he said about. Oh, so this is also what he said too. If you transcribe words on top of indecipherable noises that were originally layered with music before enhancement, the subconscious begins to hear the words you're reading. This is not rust deflection. Are you sure? There's science behind this. Your brain is a top down processor with visual bias. When you read words while listening to unclear or garbled audio, your brain uses that visual expectation to actively reshape ambiguous sounds into what you are reading. There's a famous example of this with a strange sound and visual words shown to different people. It was the exact same sound, but two separate groups both received different visual words. Each group believed the sound was their visual word. Look up Brainstorm versus Green Needle. So when Nancy Grace plays something garbled, that is not the original audio with transcribed words overlaid, and then follows it with, "Did I just hear what I think I heard?" She's clearly trying to avoid going too far. She knows exactly what she's doing to you. It's the same thing Ben Crump does when he stops short of saying someone was the victim of a race-based murder and then reads off a list of dozen people who we know were race-based murders and compares his client to them. That doesn't by itself mean they are wrong. Just understand the psychological game. They're protecting themselves while leading you to their conclusion. All right, so that's what he said. Then he made the post about right after he said that, then he discredited Nancy in the post that I read to y'all at first. And then he says, "I confuse a lot of people and have for most of my professional life. Am I a lawyer, a policy nerd, a political operative, a commentator, a newsman, a guy who thinks he's much funnier than he is? Yes. The truth is, my governing philosophy has always been to use the skills God gave me to do the things in the moment that has the highest value. It can look chaotic. I think it's largely worked." All right. So then he writes a post where he says that he has been retained by the family of Bart Edmonston. So he says, "I have been retained by the family of Bart Edmonston Jr. to pursue people defaming him with wholly fabricated assertions of fact that are putting Bart, his family, and friends in harm's way. The family will put out a formal statement later today and announce the initiation of its first defamation lawsuit. Bart received a credible death threat yesterday because of some of the made up speculation on this and other sites. The FBI, state, and local law enforcement have all been activated. But I wanted to share a few things for people who think it's a game to invent lies that could get other people killed. We have hired a private investigator firm to identify and track individuals engaged in defamation against the Edmistons. That you are young, naive, um, or lack the resources to pay a civil judgment will not deter us from filing a lawsuit against you. This is not about money for my clients. They want to protect their family and they want to curb people who lie recklessly. If you make up something out of thin air or share something that you don't know to be true, adding the word allegedly or saying people are reporting will not save you from a defamation lawsuit. We will address the falsehoods being represented methodically, but now is not the time for that. Now is the time to make very clear that we intend to be unrelenting against people who are lying on live for clicks and likes. The Edmistons and the broader Ocean Springs community grieve for the loss of Nolan Wells. They want the truth and peace for Nolan's family. People making things up online that put others at risk are not honoring Nolan's life or loss. They are not bringing us closer to the truth, but pulling us away. This will be a large, potentially nationwide task. If you're a lawyer who believes that the rule of law, the presumption of innocence, and our very commitment to truth is in jeopardy and want to do something about it, please reach out to me privately. All right, so that's what he said. Okay. Um Somebody said, what is Bart's response to the comment he made on social media stating he had not been down here in over a year? And was out of town during the events. Would he like to publicly clarify this comment? I felt that it was misconstrued, but I have seen it circulating. He says, I think he would tell you that he did not say that. Saying you have not been to a particular town in Mississippi in a while is not the same thing as saying you've not been to Mississippi. I've not been to Baton Rouge recently, but I've lived in Louisiana. Bart Jr. has never disputed that he was on Horn Island on July 4th. It seems like such a silly moot point. So, also, he posted this where it says, there is the picture circulating this morning of Bart Edmiston Jr. from high school with a young woman. Bart is now 21 and in college. In other words, this picture is old. People are asserting that the young woman in the picture is someone named Katie McCormick, that Bart had an intimate relationship with Miss McCormick, and that he killed Nolan Wells because Nolan was speaking to her. The person in the circulating photograph with a much younger Bart is not Katie McCormick. We can say that definitively, not because Bart has a relationship with Miss McCormick, but because Bart knows exactly who the person photographed is. So, too, would anyone who attended high school with them. Out of respect for her privacy, we are not going to identify her by name. Bart is not now, nor has he ever been in a relationship with Katie McCormick. He did not know who she was before this tragedy occurred. Let me be abundantly clear. Bart Edmiston Jr. did not kill or in any way contribute to the death of Nolan Wells. He had no motive to do so. All he did was help a boat that was in distress. He has fully and freely cooperated with authorities, sharing every bit of information he knows, providing access to his boat, his GPS, and his phone, and sharing witness lists with investigators. He has done all of this without criminal counsel. Though most criminal attorney what did I do? He has done all of this without criminal counsel. Though most criminal attorneys would advise against that, without hesitation and without requiring a warrant, any warrant that has been publicly quiet is a byproduct of respect for Wells' family and the investigative process. It is not a sign of the depth of the investigation or anything, but complete and total openness with investigators. Now, as it pertains to this picture, somebody came on my live yesterday and asked me about it. Let me see if I could find what I said yesterday in just being honest about, you know, what's what. So this let me find my video.
Have you heard that Katie used to date Bart?
I seen that on social media, but the photo that was paired with him didn't look like Katie to me. The girl was like dark brown hair and Katie's like a blonde. So it didn't really look like her to me. Honestly, it looked like a different person. But I did see the picture that was supposedly Katie and him together. But it was just a picture of a girl and him, and then somebody said that. But I don't, you know, I don't know that to be factual
To be
because the girl
factual.
didn't even look like her to me. To
Yeah,
be
I,
honest.
I I thought the same thing, but I was driving earlier when I seen that picture. But I was like, well, that could be a good motive. But that's what I wanted to know. Had you seen that?
Yeah, I seen it, but the girl doesn't look like Katie to me.
Okay. All right. Well,
But
at
again,
least
I don't know. All right. So as you can see, this was what I said 21 hours ago. I don't just say stuff because people like Russ make these posts where they try to intimidate people or whatever. And as you can see, Russ' post was 10 hours ago. My video was 21 hours ago. So before he ever put out these defamation, cease and desist and all of this stuff, I myself had saw the footage of the video, not the video, the picture of her, and I didn't think that it was her. Now, one thing about me is if I think you full of shit, I'm gonna say you full of shit, period. But like Russ, some of his posts I feel like it's full of shit. That's just on me, period. That's what I think. That's my opinion. However, when it comes to people making up evidence and saying, oh, look at this picture that looks nothing like Katie, and people are saying it's Katie, I'm not one of the people that's just going to run with it just because I want justice for Nolan, right? I want justice for Nolan with real evidence that can be substantiated in the court of law and that can lead to somebody being held accountable. I'm all about accountability and I'm never about just making up stuff. So even though Russ is throwing out these threats now, I just wanted to put on the record that before he said this, I thought that the girl didn't look like her. And if my video gets clipped, it's not because he's out here threatening people, it's because I actually have integrity. A lot of these people, no matter what their profession is, some have integrity and some don't. Not saying that Russ doesn't, but I don't know about him. Period. All right. So then after that, he made a statement 3 hours ago where he said that the Edmiston family have made these claims, and this is their statement. So it says, statement released by the Edmiston family. The Edmiston family expressed its what the fuck? The Edmiston family expresses its sincere condolences to the family of Nolan Wells for their tragic loss. Like so many in Ocean Springs across Mississippi and across the nation, our prayers for answers and peace are with his parents, family, and friends. Out of respect for Nolan's family and the integrity of the investigative process, we have chosen not to draw public attention to ourselves as unfettered speculation rage. Recent targeted attacks on our son, Bart Jr., now make our silence impossible. Hundreds of Mississippi Gulf Coast residents journeyed out to Horn Island to celebrate the holiday on the 4th of July. Home from college, Bart Jr. was among them. He piloted his own boat to Horn Island and piloted his own boat home. When a nearby boat suffered a mechanical malfunction on the afternoon of the 4th, Bart Jr. gave advice and directed aid to the distressed vessel. As part of this, he boarded the distressed vessel, removed its transom plug, got back onto his boat, and towed the distressed vessel for a short distance. These actions allowed water that had accumulated on the distressed vessel to drain. Bart Jr. believes that more than 20 passengers were spread across the two boats to witness these events. Others may have also witnessed from the water or shore. When Nolan's disappearance and death came to light, Bart Jr. freely and fully cooperated with law enforcement investigating the tragedy. He sat for interviews and answered all the questions he was asked and shared all his recollection from the 4th of July. Bart Jr. also compiled a list of potential witnesses, including passengers on the boat he was piloting, to share with investigators. He allowed his phone to be viewed and shared requested photographs and videos from that day with law enforcement. He also permitted the inspection of his boat and GPS device. He did all this without counsel, without requiring warrants, and without hesitation. Bart Jr. has been an open book during the process. He, like so many in our community, wants a thorough, fair, and impartial investigation that does not start with a pre-drawn conclusion but seeks and finds the truth. At no point in this process has Bart Jr. ever been identified as a suspect in Nolan Wells' death. This has not stopped people from engaging in dangerous speculation, nor has it stopped outright fabrications with each new name mentioned by the media or on social media. A new mob immediately argues that person must somehow be culpable. Facts are invented out of thin air. AI is used to distort or create photographs, videos, or audio. People begin to draw unsubstantiated conclusion and reckless threats follow. This week, it has been Bart Jr.'s turn to be accused by thousands of online strangers who do not know him, do not know any relevant facts, and do not care about our community or the truth of what happened. We grieve the loss of Nolan, but as the family, we are also concerned for the lives of our children and the safety of others being convicted in a court of public opinion without facts. Indeed, contrary to known evidence. We cannot allow our son to be slandered or our family to be doxxed and threatened, including threats made as recently as yesterday on Bart Jr.'s life. Without attempting to correct the record and hold egregious actors responsible for the danger they are manufacturing, to that end, we have retained legal counsel for the purpose of pursuing recourse against those individuals fabricating lies about him or our family. The first cease and desist and spoliation letter is being issued today to an online user who originated many of the falsehoods against Bart Jr. This user shared pictures of our home, our residential address, land plats, and information about our work, while simultaneously falsely asserting through various videos and posts that Bart Jr. is a suspect that has caused or contributed to Nolan's death, or that he is involved in a cover up of Nolan's death. It's a toxic combination in an emotional charged environment. None of these things are true. There is no evidence to support these claims. Let us be clear. Bart Jr. helped a boat that was in distress. He did not kill a friend, witness the death of a friend, or conceal the death of a friend. There are fictions made up by people with no actual knowledge of the events of that day. Unfortunately, those fictions are seen by millions. Okay. Um she then says, where was I at? Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me, if I'm coming through clearly. If y'all hit the like button, have y'all hit the like button yet? I mean, I have been talking for a while. And girl, what? These people. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So what are they finding out? What is the medical examiner finding out? Why does somebody who, because remember, Officer Tatum was so sure that it was as simple as a drowning, right? And nothing nefarious happened. So if Warren's dad is now offering $50,000, what chatters are happening? Because all of these family members are higher ups, right? They all have high positions. Um, so we'll get to that in a second. Um, where was I at? Something millions, I think I last read. We will continue to receive. Um, wait. Oh, unfortunately, those fictions are seen by millions of people and often repeated. Our family is working with the FBI, the Mississippi Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney Office, and local law enforcement to determine if federal and state cyber stalking crimes have been committed and to address the direct threats of our son's life. We will continue to pursue all available legal remedies. We will not be deterred by whether offenders have the ability to compensate us for our damages. This is not about money. We are working to ensure the safety of our family, but also to push back on the very mob rule that ignores the truth, undermines the rule of law, destroys the presumption of innocence, and ultimately makes it harder for justice to prevail. We know this moment will pass, the truth will win out, the reckless mob will move on to the next big thing. But in their wake, they will leave a grieving family, young men whose reputation have been forever tarnished, and um a community of people who used to smile at each other in the grocery store, but who trust just a little less now. It's a tragic reality of a society full of internet sleuths, unconcerned by the damage their lies wreak. We would simply like to implore people to think deeply about the potential consequences of things they say without proof or knowledge. Ask yourself, do I know this to be true? Are the things I'm saying likely to help or hurt? Am I doing this because it is right or because I crave attention? Spreading false information does not honor Nolan's life or his family's loss. It pulls us further away from the truth. We can all be better in those moments. So that is a statement from Bart's family, and he was the one to tow the boat on Horn Island. Now, one of you guys said that TMZ just posted up a post. Let me see real quick. Let's go to tmz.com. All right. So it says, hold on. Stop trying to tell people I'm trying to buy Eon hair. Anyways, all right. Nolan Wells' friend's dad offers $50K reward for info. And this is Warren. It says the father of one of Nolan Wells' friends is offering a hefty cash reward in hopes of shedding light on the mysterious circumstances surrounding Nolan Wells' death. Dr. Benjamin Hudson, the father of Warren Hudson, tells TMZ he is offering the reward for any information that leads to a conviction of the person responsible for Nolan's death, laying a $50,000 reward on the table for information that leads investigators to whoever may be responsible. The teen's father also makes it clear his family isn't pointing any fingers, telling us we don't know that anyone had any involvement, but we care about Nolan and want to find out what happened. Child. Dr. Hudson also firmly defends the teenagers who were with Nolan that day, saying he believes the boys on the 3 boats had no involvement in Nolan's death and plainly puts it as we still don't know what happened. He says the Hudson family has been living through a nightmare since the case captured national attention. And according to Dr. Hudson, his family has received thousands of death threats, something he believes has made it harder for investigators to get information they need. All right. So this is the audio.
I've never, ever, ever seen.
Oh my God, why y'all keep trying to tell that I've been trying to get this Eon hair? Like, what? Somebody said you're not reading the chats. I wasn't. I was looking at the article. Read what chat? What y'all want me to read? Somebody said you're not reading the chats. What? What else am I supposed to read?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the fuck up! Damn it, Bart. What'd you say? Hey.
All right. So as you can hear, somebody said, "Damn it, Bart." So when people heard that Warren did an interview and he said that he rode to the island with Bart and then Bart helped them tow the boat, and then this audio was released and then people heard him say, "Damn it, Bart," that's where all of the fingers started to point towards Bart.
Stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the fuck up! Damn it, Bart. What'd you say? Hey. It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that. I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. Reach me at 2. What? Yeah, everybody talks to it.
All right. So what TMZ did was mute the audio of the operator and put only the call from the boys or the young men on there. So y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, bye guys. Thank you guys for watching. You guys let me know what you think down below. And what do you think about these new threats of lawsuit? And what do you think about the case of Nolan and what has been revealed so far?